Good evening and welcome back to my channel. Today I've got a single unboxing. It says eBay on it, but it's actually not from eBay. It's from Ancient Mariner Auctions. And I won this a while ago, but it only came in a week or so ago. I was away for work. Now, I added a post about this being pretty special. I only got it because the reserve was quite low for what I've seen this advertised as. So it will all become clear as I do the opening. But in essence, this is an old, it's an old novel by a French author, but it's more famous as an animation in the 70s. So hopefully some of you will know what I'm talking about. And the animation, I think won a big award in Cannes in 1973. And it's pretty famous for being a very quirky, kind of weird animation, right? And the animation translation is The Wild Planet. I've written it down, Le Planète Sauvage, The Wild Planet. So I'll just take out that, which is the invoice. So the problem with these auctions is there's a big percentage on top. It was 20-something%. That's literally it in the box. Take away 1. Take away 2. Okay, it is. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so it's just in bubble wrap, but there's also so one bubble wrap and then this, which, what does that say? That's like, is it Turbo Man? It's like one of those Japanese fighting shows, and it's like a Pog. Do you remember Pogs? Anyway, that was on top. But this is where the good thing is, and it's quite small, but you can see the picture through. So this is a relatively expensive book. It's an expensive book for me. I don't usually spend this much on a book. I think I'll just get another book that kind of cost me similar. So this was a book I bought simply because I was sucked in by Book Pilled, but The Star of the Unborn by Franz Werfel. So I bought that a while back, and this was a similar price, a bit cheaper to be honest. But the reason I got it, as I say, is if you look at some of the prices for this. So I think on Amazon, on eBay, I did a bit of a look, and you're kind of looking, I think, like minimum, £100, for example. And there's just not many on the go. So this is the only, I think, English translation of Stefan Vull, which is actually a pseudonym for a famous French science fiction author. And you'll see the picture on the front. That is the animation from the 1970s. And it is a very strange piece of animation. It's like coloured pencils, like very kind of artfully done, but it's kind of strange looking. And some of the animation is like blocky. And basically the story is that there's this planet, it's called, I've written it down because I can't remember, YGAM, Y-G-A-M, where there's these kind of blue giants that meditate. They're humanoid, so two-legged. This is one of the children. You can't really see, they're blue. And then this headset, the yellow around, is what they use to learn. Basically, it's a learning tool. And they meditate to basically go off planet and stuff. They're a kind of a superior being. But they have pets that are basically humans, and they call them oms. And the opening scene is a mum and a baby, and this big blue giant kind of playing with the mum like it's a toy, like someone playing with a kitten or a puppy. And basically the mum dies through being dropped, like playfully dropped. And then there's this little baby who's kind of, oh, okay. And the little baby gets brought up by these aliens, and they call a girl called Tiwa, calls the little baby Tear, I presume from Terran, human, puts a collar on him, like a dog collar, but the collar can actually move the. So it's basically a role reversal where humans are the pet. Reminds me a little bit of The Nets of Space, that book that I read. Anyway, so this is the only English translation, I think, ever of the original novel that the animation was based on. And I think the novel's from the 1940s, but I'm not sure. So on the back it says, the psychedelic sci-fi classic, now published for the very first time in English, Stefan Voll's fantastic planet, Oms on Ceres, is a classic of science fiction and the inspiration of the award-winning 1973 animated film La Planète Sauvage, Fantastic Planet. And the story is, so this is the blurb, the last surviving humans are taken from Earth to the wild planet Igam by the Draags, D-R-A-A-G-S, a race of blue-skinned, red-eyed giants. Here they become known as Oms, used as lowly servants and regarded as savages, or pets. I read, when I watched it, I think I watched it at university, but I watched it recently as well. They're like pets. They kind of play fight with them. They get them to sing, and But little by little, led by a young man of superior intelligence named Tear, so that's the boy of the mum who dies, the Oms regain their thirst for liberty and rise up against the Draags to affirm their humanity in the face of oppression. This deceptively simple storyline is vividly depicted by author Voll with phantasmic detail and a stirring mythopaic resonance. So this was originally only, it says here, $9.95 in the UK. But as I say, it's it's like, I think it was like a single printing and very difficult to get hold of. So this was 2010, so it's only 15 years ago, but it's gone up in price and value so much. So yeah, it's just the English translation of the novel. And I'm intrigued to read it because I watched the animation and it's freaky. But if this is classic French sci-fi, I think I owe it to myself to give it a read. But obviously, because it's worth a bit, only 150 odd pages. And obviously it's hard once you've watched the animation or the movie to not see the design of those characters already in your mind's eye when you read it. One of the worst experiences that I had for that, not worst, but was, when I was younger, I watched One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. But then I realised later it was based on a novel, Ken Kesey. And I read the novel and absolutely loved it. One of my favourites. But I always saw Jack Nicholson in the role. And you can't get around that, right? And then and the other one was Remains of the Day, which I just thought, the book is just stunning. Kashiru Ishiguro, I can never say that properly. But I see Emma Thompson and Anthony Hopkins when I was reading it, because I watched the film first, or I don't know if I'd watched the film first, or I knew they were famous actors within the film. So this, again, I'm gonna see the animation when I'm reading it, but I think it would be just really good to see if I miss things in the animation. So yes, that was my recent purchase for my science fiction retirement library, a bit of French history with an overlap on animation. But let me try and get the name of the original author, because that was what do they call it, pen de nom. Yeah, it's not actually in here, but you can look it up. It's a famous French sci-fi author, where I did actually have a look a while back that there's nothing in translation from this author. So this might even be, I think there might be one graphic novel or something, that this might be the only English translated piece of prose for Stefan Voll, or the pen name. So yeah, that was my big auction purchase. As I say, it's taken pride of place with my Star of the Unborn, which is pretty good condition for this book for the price. So yeah, so I'm starting to look a little bit further afield for the keys to my collection, and this is a step in that direction. So thanks for watching. Let me know if you've seen the animation, or if you've read this, or if you've got this. It may not be as rare as I think. But please let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, share, and just thank you as always for watching. It still blows me away, some of the comments, the emails, the viewing hours that I get. It's just really appreciated, and it's spurred me on to do more, basically. So thank you, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers.